Lane 1. This is the leftmost lane. This is the travel lane. This is the lane you should be using at all times unless you're overtaking. Now this video is about the real world. So in the real world, when do you use this lane? Realistically, this is the truck lane. You can have a look all the way down there and see all the trucks that are sitting in this lane. If you want fantastic fuel economy, what you can do is you can get yourself a little bit close to a truck, match their speed, which is usually about 60, and you can travel like this. It's a bit more relaxing, it's a bit more peaceful. If you've got adaptive cruise control, you stick that on, let it follow the truck ahead. It's amazing. Not many people are gonna do this. Unless, I don't know, you're really tight on cash and you're trying to save on fuel. Lane 2 is the truck overtake lane. This is the lane that trucks use to overtake other trucks. You'll often see things such as flatbeds carrying broken Honda Civic Type Rs. But realistically, this lane is where trucks overtake other trucks. So if you're in this lane, you're just going to be stuck doing 60 anyway, watching a truck overtake another truck. Now if this lane is free, you should use it. One of the big issues that we have on the UK motorway system, people will often talk about people hogging the middle lane, or specifically in the UK, hogging lane 3. We'll get to lane 3 in a minute, but there is a reason that this happens. It's because lane 1 and 2 are truck lanes. I mean, look at, I've been sat in lane 1 for probably a minute now, and this truck has made all of 0 progress on the other one. But this is what you're going to be sat here doing. You're going to be sat here letting out trucks, overtaking other trucks, and you're going to be miserable. Let's move on to lane 3. In the real world, this is the travel lane on the motorway. All the advanced drivers with their certification, this guy is not even in his bloody lane. I mean, your truck's not that big, mate. Look at that. Realistically, on the UK motorway, this is the travel lane. What you should correctly do now is move back over to lane 2 and continue traveling here. But because people get stuck with all the trucks and all the rubbish going on in this lane, they're always doing 65. Sometimes doing 60. It's a waste of time. I mean, you can use lane 2, but all that's going to happen is you're going to catch back up with the traffic and the trucks, and you're going to hate your life because you're going to have to do 200 lane changes per minute. So now the majority of the cars will do somewhere between 65 and 70 in this lane. The thing is, this lane is also annoying because nobody uses cruise control. Nobody's actually trying to get to where they're going to. I mean, we're doing 65 here. And everybody should move back over, but the reason they don't is because if they move back over, they're just going to be stuck behind that truck again anyway. So realistically, this is why we have the problem in the UK of everybody sitting in the third lane. So the only actual travel lane to make any kind of progress is lane 4. The problem with lane 4 is that everybody understands in lane 4, yes, we have speed limits in the UK and we have speed cameras in the UK. The speed limit on our motorways is 70 miles an hour. But everybody in the UK understands the cameras have a margin of error and your speedometer has a margin of error. So realistically, your speedometer is overreading a little bit. So when I'm doing 77, in the real world, I'm actually doing 70. And then the camera is not going to flash until about 77. So realistically, in this lane, you can do something like 82, 83, and you will not get a speeding ticket. Many people in the UK know this. So they bomb down here at roughly 80 miles an hour, which makes it really difficult because your speed differential between lane 3 and lane 4, everyone in lane 3 is doing like 65, and everyone in lane 4 is doing usually significantly more than 70. You do get some odd times where you can move to lane 3 and actually do the speed limit, and that's nice. And then you can travel. At this point, I could also use lane 2, but I'm just going to get caught up again. There's no point. This BMW X5 thing has chosen to do the right thing, but he's stuck. Now I'm going to have to let him out. He's just going to catch the people. Go, go. You see? And this is why people don't use lane 2. You're just going to be stuck with these people. There is no lane where everybody is just doing 70. There's no comfortable travel lane. Lane 3 is the closest to it on a busy motorway. So now we're doing about 70, but we're going to end up catching somebody that's doing 65, and then we're just going to have to go into lane 4 again, and then there'll be a white van driver that's bombing down there at 85. I mean, you can see this is a visual representation of how people do not use lane 2. You've got the white van man, you've got the I don't even know what that is, and this is the problem. Now I'm doing the speed limit, I'm going to undertake these guys. It doesn't work well. They should have moved over, yes, but they don't want to be stuck behind the truck, so then they stay there. So then I have to undertake them. So then it's awkward. The road system is a mess. You have similar problems on smaller motorways. I'm going to be a good boy. I'm going to put myself over in lane 1, as people say you should. Well, if I want to actually get where I'm going, I'm going to get there slower. I'm going to be doing 58 miles an hour. I'm going to be stuck behind a truck. I'm going to be miserable. I see people do this on 2-lane motorways, and I'm thinking, what are you doing? Because it's going to take you an extra 10 to 15 to 20% longer to get to where you're going. This lane is basically just for exiting and entering the motorway. But you're going to have to deal with these people coming on all the time. It's just long. Realistically, the only travel lane on these motorways is the fast lane, the overtake lane. The reason it's the travel lane is because you're always overtaking people. I mean, with only 2 lanes, there's always someone in there. There's queue people behind a truck. There's very rare times when there's actually nobody there and you can use it. There is a gap coming up where there will be no car in the travel lane, and I'm able to use it, which is amazing. Look at that. We're probably going to have like a mile of actually being able to use the correct lane. There is someone faster coming up. He's doing about 82, which is absolutely fine. This is how the road system is designed to work. Well, realistically, I should be doing 70, and this is fine. And if the road was always open, it could work very well. But you'll see in about half a mile, it does not work very well. They do get out of the way. I've got to say, one thing that's good about the UK lorry truck driver people is they have very good lane etiquette, and they always move out the way once they're done with the overtake. But the overtakes sometimes cause like a mile or 2 miles of cars backed up, because it just takes them 30 seconds to get past each other, and then you're just stuck. Then the entire motorway is doing 55, and there is no solution for this. Like, if I was being correct, I would move over to the first lane, right? I mean, yeah, great. I've moved over to the first lane. I'm doing the speed limit. I'm going to catch this, and now I'm going to be entrapped. Look at this. I can't move back over. There's a car here now. Now I've got a gap. That's great. But if there's a long line of cars, you screwed yourself, because you can't get back out. These 2-lane motorways do not work, and the 4-lane motorways do not work. There is no motorway in the UK that works. There's no motorway where you can set your cruise at 70 and just do 70 with everyone else. It just doesn't exist. Now, I've got a whole video about tailgating, but this guy needs some correction. After everything that I've said in this entire video, there's a huge gap in front of him, and I understand there's a truck coming up, but this is not acceptable. This is not okay. He cannot be doing 60 here. If he wants to drive like this, he needs to be in the lane 1. After everything that I've said and explained about how the road system just does not work very well, when you add this on top of it, it's incredibly frustrating. And yes, a lot of you guys in that video said, oh, well, he's overtaking or blah, 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 blah. Brothers, do it 65. Go away. Stop. There's no one in front of you. Leave. Move. Watch, he's not even going to go back to lane 1 now. I know. I can guarantee it. There's no hope in hell. He's not moving. Do you know what I'd do to these people? I apologize, but it's just like, I just cannot understand. All the information about things like tailgating and lane discipline and which lanes you should use is already in my tailgating video. Make sure you click up here to watch that video and get more information.